You want gore? You want some gore? The 80s gives you the gore, man!
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here again with another video. You know, last night watching 28 Days Later got me to thinking that, when and are we ever going to get a third act to that film? You know, we had 28 Days Later, I think came out in '02, and the sequel followed up in '07, 28 weeks later. We've been waiting ever since to get a third act. And revisiting this film last night and thinking about the sequel, it really does deserve a third act, a good, solid third piece. And so this video, I just really want to quickly run down 5 flicks in my collection that I think deserve a third act, just to complete a nice, well-rounded trilogy. I did my best. I think I came up with 8 or 7 or 8 possibilities, and out of that I just pulled out the 5 best ones I thought. So here we go. 5 flicks that deserve a third act. Number 5, Rob Zombie's Halloween, Halloween 2, H2. Yes, it deserves a third final act. You still have a few characters, good solid characters. Brad Dourif, Sheriff Brackett, of course, Scout as Lori, of course Tyler Mane. You always can bring Michael back, right? I mean, they're about to do this anyways by going back and attempting to leap off the original sequel. And Udo Kier, I thought, would be an interesting character to bring back from the first one, sort of as an homage to the old Donald Pleasance character, but from a different perspective. So Rob Zombie, I know it isn't going to happen because they're going to go back and try to relive the good old days. But just because of how it ended, it really does need to be finished off, I think. So Rob Zombie, the Halloween films, a third act. Number 4, The Thing. Now, we know that, I've heard on and off that John has mentioned that he, and this, by the way, is the reversible cover, Scream Factory Blue edition, and of course the prequel, more of a forensic style. John has said in the past, I believe I've heard him say that he's always wanted to, or would like the chance to go and follow up his original film, The Thing, in 1982, with a sequel. Why not? John's not going to be around forever, so it would be nice to get one more piece, at least to make some kind of trilogy here, even if all 3 aren't from John himself. So number 4, The Thing. Number 3, Dead Snow, and of course the follow-up. And we really do need a third piece just to finish off this trilogy, the Dead Snow trilogy. I know Tommy is working on something right now, but it would be nice if we could get him back and just finish this thing off with a nice trilogy, with a nice third act, and make a nice trilogy. So Dead Snow, number 3. Number 2, of course, I already mentioned it at the beginning. 28 Days Later, 28 weeks later, and whether you call it 28 months later, I don't know, but get Danny Boyle back from the original. I thought the second one was a great, solid film, but it'd be nice to get Danny back and finish this thing off and make it a nice trilogy. So a third act for 28 Days Later. And my number 1 film out of my collection, I know this is not going to happen, but man, it would be awesome if it did. Both Demons 2, of course, Lamberto Bava and Dario Argento being involved, and a couple others being involved with the screenwriting. And I know we're talking about 1985, 1986, so it's been a little while. But those 2 guys are still alive. wouldn't it be nice to see them get together for one last hurrah and maybe just finish this thing off as a trilogy? So I know this one probably will never see the light of day, but man, it's nice to dream a little bit. So for my number one, Demons. And I thought, as a bonus thought or idea, now the reason I picked these is because they legitimately do not have a third act, a third piece. And they ought to, at least in my mind, they ought to. But there's another one, boy, I really wish we would get. Now, it's already a franchise, so legitimately there are movies that follow up the sequel. But in light of this new prequelization that is coming out finally this year, and I'm referring to Leatherface, you know, I would love nothing more than to see Tobe Hooper get one last shot to give us a third, deliver his own sequel, his third piece. And you know, what made the original so great was him commenting on how he felt about the 70s and the time that he was living in. And what made the sequel so great was his comment on the 80s. It would be nice if we could get him back, you know, and comment on the time that has passed since. So even though it's officially a franchise, I would love to see Toby get in there and do one more and just wrap this thing up, at least as a Tobe Hooper trilogy. And who knows, but so again, number 5, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Number 4, The Thing. Number 3, Dead Snow. Number 2, 28 Days Later. And number 1, Demons. They all deserve a third act to make a nice, well-rounded trilogy. What do you think? And is there one that you ought to see or want to see finished off in a third act? VHS 82 apostrophe. And as always, go Bills.
These days,